Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Mirror Dungeon solo video. Today we'll be using the very knowledgeable Dieci Yi Sang. Like all Dieci identities, he functions primarily around discard and sinking. In fact, he can best be described as just a miniature Dieci Rodion, as they are practically identical in their capabilities. Anything she can do, Yi Sang can also do, although by being a 2-star identity, his numbers are inherently worse than hers. Primarily, his main role is as a tank. Every time he discards, he gains shield, and more importantly, whenever he's attacked, he inflicts sinking on whoever hit him. With his numbers being so weak and impossible for him to maintain a sinking stack, one of the best things he can do is not attack and just stack up sinking by taking hits. There's not really much else I can really say about him. His numbers make him quite bad for sinking teams if he actually attacks, and his only real ability is to take hits. It makes him quite a boring identity to be honest, but pretty good to solo with at least. Starting the run off, we take these starter buffs and find these ego gifts on the first floor of To Be Crushed, before making it to the boss against the Talisman Doll. By using Bygone Days as our Zayn ego, we are fatal to lust damage, which can end up making the doll a little scarier than normal. Unfortunately for it though, fatal damage means nothing when you can generate half your max HP and shield every turn. Even with Rupture on top of that, he can never hope to break through our defenses, and we use the doll as little more than a training dummy.
먹였네. 다행은 고통스러운 법.
승객이 딱콩 한 방 먹였어.
적확한 한압이었어.
원더풀 선생이었어 나리! 전략이 뻔히 보이는 게로군.
올바른 방법으로 그에게 일격을 가했구나. 이것이 다행은 고통스러운 법. 이제 끝내지.
방금 공격. 다음에 다른 개체에게도 다시 해봐줄.
We take the golden urn and blood, sweat, and tears for a reward before heading into emotional flood for the next floor. Here we find skeletal crumbs and buy broken compass and painkillers before making it to the boss against KQE. KQE is one of the easiest bosses in the entire game, and I hate that he's paired with the slit current. Even if he could manage to get his gimmick to activate, it only does about 90 unavoidable damage, which is easily survivable by most identities. He really needs a buff. I've never even seen the Heart of the Townsfolk that he can summon because he just dies too quickly even with resisted attacks.
걱정 마시오. 다행은 고통스러운 법. 이상한 귀기가 다행은 고통스러운 법. 깨달음은 괴롭지.
방금 공격.
다행은
다음에
고통스러운
다른
법.
개체에게도 다시
깨달음은
해봐줄래?
괴롭지.
영상으로 남기면 다른 직원에게도 도움이 될지 몰라.
가지 않아. 내 도시 꺾일 거야.
방금 공격은 좋았어. 이대로만 계속해보면 좋을 텐데. 칼날이 잘 드네요. 아마 그 공격이 약점이었겠죠? 앞으로 강력한 공격이 다가올 것 같아. 미리 말을 해줬으니까 목표하는 직원은 없을 거라고 생각해.
We take Tangled Bundle and a duplicate for our reward before heading into Burning Haze for the next floor. Here we buy Distant Star, Red Order, and an extra skill too, while also fusing Midwinter Nightmare before making it to the boss against the Skin Prophet. The Skin Prophet is probably the easiest boss in the entire run. He gives us 3 free turns of doing nothing but stack sinking on himself, so the second we actually can attack him, he dies pretty much instantly due to his gloom weakness. Super easy fight, nothing to talk about.
오늘도 즐거운 하루의 시작이네.
삶은 고통스러운 것.
좋아. 얼른 끝내고 밥 먹으러 가자고.
삶은 고통스러운 것.
상대는 정해진 대로 잘했어. 역시.
깨달음은 괴롭지.
진행도 잘했네.
적확한 단합이었어. 이제 끝내지.
우리 하나가 파괴되었어. 이대로 똑같이만 한다면
We take layered bandages and illusory hunt for a reward and head into slicers and dicers for the next floor. Here we find Phantom Pain and buy Eclipse of Scarlet Moths and Temporal Brittle before making it to the boss against the Wayward Passenger. The Passenger himself is also not a particularly difficult fight. He is slightly harder than everything else up until this point, as he can easily beat our clashes, but just like everything else, he can never actually do any damage. Being able to generate over 100 shield every turn renders most attacks completely pointless, and even though the rupture he inflicts can be a little scary, it doesn't phase us at all. We do struggle to take down his portals, and thus he gets almost all of his buffs, but they don't really matter as, like I said, we can tank pretty much all of his attacks all the time. It's a slightly more difficult fight, but not enough to make it an actual challenge.
삶은 고통스러운 것.
행고도. 아, 옛날 것이.
삶은 고통스러운 것. 깨달음은 괴롭지.
쨍들아. 부위가 조각났어. 계속해도 돼.
대처들이 옛. 삶은 고통스러운 것. 이제 끝내지.
방금 어떻게 하신 거죠?
이제
깜짝
끝내지.
놀랐어요.
제압 개체 하나를 처리했습니다. 삶은 고통스러운 법.
박제라도 맞았나?
삶은 고통스러운 법. 깨달음은 괴롭지.
부위 한쪽이 떨어져 나갔군. 과거 본대 모험에서도.
깨달음은 괴롭지.
부위 하나가 떨어졌네요.
이제
이제
끝내지.
좀 수월해지겠어요.
We take a duplicate and imposed weight for a reward and head into the Heartbreaking for the final floor. Here we buy the pocket flashcards and the dimensional perception modifier, while also fusing artistic sense before making it to the final boss against not Heathcliff.
늦으면 내 피랑 먼저.
This is yet again another easy fight. Who knew that the ability to double your health every single turn makes most fights trivial? The worst part about this fight is that sinking does virtually nothing. It makes it impossible for us to lose a clash, but also makes our damage lack quite substantially when Heathcliff isn't staggered. Eclipse of Scarlet Moths does trigger and staggers Heathcliff for us, giving us the opportunity to not only wail on him for 2 full turns, but also bypasses most of his aura barriers and skips right to the end.
너희도 나올 수
삶은
있겠지만
고통스러운 법.
내가 세피라로서 너희가 죽지 않도록 도와줄게.
걱정 마시오. 아이는 고통스러운 법.
완벽한 선택이었어, 나리! 전투 약점이 뻔히 보이는 게로군!
깨달으면 괴롭지.
저 개체부터 처리하면 편할 것 같아요.
아이는 고통스러운 법.
방금 공격 다음에 타겟에게도 다시 해봐줄래?
이런 건 몽둥이가 약이지.
다른 직원에게도 도움이 될지
그렇게.
몰라.
그래, 결국 마지막까지 서 있는 놈이 이기는 거라니까.
손이 열쇠보다 강하다. 그것을 분명하게 깨우치게 했어. 그리고 무슨 말을 더 붙이려 했었던지.
And that's how I soloed Mirror Dungeon 5 hard using only Dieci Yi Sang. He literally is just a miniature Dieci Rodion. They both play pretty much identically, it's just that Yi Sang has worse numbers and therefore is inherently a worse character. The actual worst part about him though is that you have to give up his two other syncing identities if you want to use him, which both have unique status effects that only they can do in the form of Sinking Deluge and Butterfly. Sacrificing either of those for a subpar sinking identity is never really worth it, and thus his only real value is as a tank. Anyway, that's it from me. Like and subscribe to not miss next time where we'll be using this character. Goodbye.